2, 1. Okay, I am live. I'm going to use this as a mirror. Put on a little lip gloss or lip coloring or whatever. All right. Let us get started. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Ha. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Ha. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Ha. Let's get it started in here. All right. So I clicked that live button. It is 2:22 p.m. on December 15th, 2025, and we are 10 days away from Christmas, and I am about to set a new goal for myself at the end of 2025. I've set a new goal for myself where I am going to be doing as many lives as I can until the new year begins. I'm thinking twice a day. I'm thinking twice a day for at least an hour. I'm thinking 10 and 2. I just like the ring of it, 10 and 2, 10 and 2, 10 and 2 TikTok lives. So 10 and 2, the 10 o'clock hour and the 2 o'clock hour. I am thinking 10 and 2:22 because those are just fun numbers. Those are angel numbers, and I'm weird and intentional like that. So thank you for anybody who might be peeping in from the outside. You know me, you've seen me, especially if you're following my account. You've seen me, you've seen this face, you've heard me talk, and now I'm about to expand a little bit more in my TikTok journey and my social media journey by starting to do some lives. So this is my second one today. And like I said, I'm going for 10 and 2, the 10 o'clock hour and the 2 o'clock hour during the weekdays for the rest of the month. And then we will go from there. We can see how we can make it happen in the new year when I start back homeschooling and all that. But for right now, I'm just going to, see how much I could get done. See how much lives I can get done until the end of December. Right? 10 and 2. So what I wanted to talk about in this live, and thank you for peeping in. Thank you for peeping in. Definitely send some love to this live. I just want to expand my social media journey. I want to expand my platform. I want to start to create something for myself. So to create independence for myself, financial independence eventually, and just basically using who I am, what I'm capable of, my skills, everything that I've learned over the years to build a platform, to create something. So basically it's just to challenge myself, to learn new things, to improve on who, just to become the greatest version of myself, the best version of myself, like in all aspects, in health, in knowledge, in spiritual health, in mental health, in physical health, in all that kind of stuff. Like just like I said, become the best version of myself. So this is another step on that journey, in that process. I am an INFJ, so I love to lean in on discussing what an INFJ journey is all about. Discussing how we think, discussing, how we see the world, because we see the world in a little bit of a different way to how other people see the world. And I know that for a fact because I've been here long enough to realize that I'm kind of a stranger on this planet. And I've only become less a stranger on this planet when, the portals of social media, especially TikTok, the portals of social media opened up, and you got to peek into other people's worlds, right? You got to peek into other people's minds and the way they think, and you got to learn a lot more about other people and the way other people see the world and how you see the world. And then I started to realize that I'm not as much of a weirdo and a stranger to this planet as I thought I was. I wasn't as much of an alien as I thought I was. I started to realize that, you know, even though an INFJ is a rare personality type, it is 1 to 2% of the population. It's still a rare personality type. I am not alone. There is a type that I fit into, even though I'm still my own unique person. I'm still my own, me. And I am trying to figure out how to be me, how to navigate as me, how to not let this world instill is the right word, not let this world instill fear in me and, self-doubt, because those are all the things that I struggle with: fear and self-doubt and feeling alone and feeling like I don't belong and feeling all these different things. Those are the things that I struggle with, because even in the groups that I kind of connect with and fit into, even in those, I kind of still feel, like a stranger, like a weirdo, right? So what I wanted to talk about in this live, the thought is to talk about the INFJ mind and the way how we love, the way how we, and even if you're not an INFJ, it still might be an interesting conversation. You might even know some INFJs, and you just don't know that you know INFJs, or the INFJ in your life might not even realize they're INFJ. But if you happen to know an INFJ, I would love to hear about that, because I am still, I'm hoping to meet other INFJs at some point. One of the things that I notice about social media, and I've been on social media for almost 10 years. One of the things I notice about social media is that they got platforms, right, that talk about the INFJ personality, but they always talk about the INFJ personality from a teaching standpoint, from videos in which they teach you what is the way how, teach you about the INFJs. But there's not really I haven't really stumbled upon like INFJ vloggers, like INFJ people that like just literally talk about, vlog about their life, talk about their life, what it's like to be an INFJ, from a first person standpoint as opposed to just a teaching standpoint. And I still see myself as the only person that does that right now. And what I'm trying to do is to find my voice as an INFJ on the internet. And the reason I choose to lean into the INFJ way of thinking is because our personality type, honestly, despite the fact that it is rare and not many people can really 100% connect or relate to us, our personality type is the right personality type to be very, very helpful in navigating the timeline that we're in right now, in navigating the world that we're in, the moment that we're in, right? Because of the way how we see things. Now, for anybody who might not know what an INFJ is, and feel free to say hi or tap the screen or send me some love or share the live, even though it might feel as though it might not be something that you're into this conversation or whatever. I have no idea how the conversation is going to turn out, because one of the things about me is that I start off with a plan. I start off with that P word, right? An idea of what I want to talk about. And then I start talking, and words flow out of me, flow out of me, and things come out that I didn't expect to come out. So I can't tell you what's going to come out in a conversation or in a live or in, when I'm doing this stuff, when I'm talking. I can't tell you what's going to come out. I can tell you what I think is going to come out. I can tell you what I think I can talk about, but I never know what's actually going to come out of my mouth. And all I could say is that even though I'm still working on developing my communication skills, but I'm way better than I used to be, way more confident than I used to be. And, when I started out this communication thing, I had a lot more pauses. I had a lot more of those filler words. I had a lot more of those hesitations and overthinking before I say anything, and forgetting the words and, what the words mean and what am I looking for. And now I've gotten so much better at talking that I can I can flow better. I'm still not as good as I would like to be, but I can flow better in my talking, in my confidence, in my sticking to the point, in my flow, all that stuff. So I've definitely improved since I started. And the more I do this, the better I'll get at it. And trust me when I tell you, I feel as though there's something to be gained from, sitting down and listening to me talk, listening to me share my perspective, my ideas, because sometimes the challenge is figuring out how to, verbally express and describe the pictures in my mind and the thoughts in my head. That's a challenge for me. That's why I gotta practice and keep doing this, keep talking until I am able to master the art. But there's a lot of interesting things in here, a lot of unique things that come out of my brain, a lot of ideas, a lot of perspective, and there's a lot of benefit. There's a lot of benefit that I feel people would gain from sitting down listening to me talk. So, in case you don't know what INFJ is a MBTI, is a Myers-Briggs type indicator. And personality type, and that's 16 personalities. There's 16 personality types in the Myers-Briggs type indicator, the MBTI personality type, and an INFJ is one of them. So INFJ stands for introversion, intuition, feeling, and judging personality. So I got a page put up here so I can read what it has here. Introversion, the INFJs gain energy from spending time alone and reflect internally. They are generally reserved and introspective. So, we are very connected. We're very emotionally intelligent. We're very connected to our inner self and our inner world. So I don't mind being lonely. I don't mind having friends or having a lot of friends. I am not a social person. I don't mind keeping to myself and hanging out with myself and enjoying myself. I absolutely love hanging out with myself, right? Intuition is the second thing. The N stands for intuition, and they focus on possibilities, abstract concepts, patterns, and the big picture rather than concrete facts or immediate details. So that's the thing about an INFJ, is that we kind of have this sixth sense, like this like we almost could be psychic, because of the way how we see things. We see patterns and possibilities and concepts. So that's what I call myself, an idea person. I always just call myself an idea person. Like, I could see how things work. Like, I could come up with unique ideas and people never thought of, and I do it all the time. And that's why, in a way, I think that building a social media platform, like being confident enough and courageous enough to go for it, I could succeed at it, even though it might take a while, because I am not the type of personality that's gonna go viral fast. I'm not the charmer, or the, you know, I'm not that kind of energy that would convince people right away that I'm an interesting person to invest their attention and energy into, right? It's kind of like, I have to build trust with people. People have to build, you know, because I don't just grab you right away. I'm not that type of person, right? So it's gonna take a while, but I do think that being a part of my social media platform, like following my accounts and following my growth, would be a very fascinating thing to people who have a sense of curiosity, people who are not trying to box anybody in, because as an INFJ, I cannot be in a box. That's one of the things that is kind of like difficult for people to wrap their head around an INFJ, because we are enigmas, right? You can't put us in a box, you know, like 1 minute I'm gonna be making a political video, 1 minute I'm gonna make a goofy video, next minute I'm gonna be making a dance video, and 1 minute I'm gonna be like really hyper into a certain type of social media. Like right now I'm doing a lot more of dancing and stuff like that, you know. And then the next minute my platform would change, my ideas would change, and my focus would change. You know, I used to call myself moody, right? Because 1 minute I'm like so into something and I'm doing something, and not in 1 minute. It would take a while, but I would be into something, and then I would move on to something else, right? Not right away, not suddenly, but then I would make a complete switch, because I would realize that my time with that is over, and I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to shift. So for people that like people to fit neatly in certain boxes, like you like to got them all figured out, then we will mesh, because you have to be adaptable to be my friend. You don't have to be adaptable to be my friend, but you have to understand that I'm not going to stay in a box. I will constantly be evolving and constantly be shifting and constantly be doing different things and trying different things. And when you think you got me all figured out, I'm going to surprise you. That's the way it is. That's just the way it is. So, you know, I go with the flow, and I keep my mind open, my eyes open, and let my intuition be my guide. Let my intuition be my guide. So I am seeing the people that are down there. I'm assuming that the people that are down there are the people that are on the outside of this live, and no one actually clicked in. That's what I'm thinking that's all about. So feel free to click in and, you know, come into the live and send me some love, like tap the screen, share the live, you know, do the things, heart it, like the live, all those kind of things, help me out. This is my second live today, because what I said at the beginning of this live is that I want to challenge myself. To, you know, do 2 lives a day, mostly during the week. Maybe not so much the Christmas week, I'm not sure. 2 lives a day. I'm thinking 10 and 2. And the reason I chose those times, 10 and 2, the 10 o'clock hour and the 2 o'clock hour, really and truthfully, is because I like the ring to it. I like the ring. You know, the 10 and 2 TikTok lives. So we're going to do 1010 because it's an angel number, and 222 because it's an angel number. Whom do he? I don't know what that means. Whom do he? Right. So that's what I'm thinking. User home group have games. Home he group. Okay, none of that makes sense. All right. So I don't know none of that made sense. So in this conversation, this live, I'm talking about the INFJ personality because that's what I am, an INFJ personality type. And I wanted to talk about the INFJ mind and how the INFJ loves. What? Item, location, to do, following information, password. Okay. Right, so I wanted to talk about the INFJ. And so I said that the INFJ is a myers-briggs personality type indicator, and I talked about the fact that the I is introvert and the N is intuition, and the F is feeling. Decisions are primarily based on personal values, emotions, and what is best for others, valuing harmony and compassion. So, oh, did I miss something? Did I get a gift? Just got. Well, thank you for someone who sent me something. I think I missed it. So the next one is feeling, and it says that we kind of make decisions based on our feelings, right? Which is true. I know this to be true. So, an introvert, intuitive, someone who is guided by their intuition, and someone who's guided by their feelings. You know, they got some people that are guided by logic and facts. I am guided by feelings. I'm guided by, you know, on TV, how do we say, follow your heart. I am one of those people that will follow my heart. I would follow what I feel called to do, which is a very which for a long time that made me not like fit in to the system and the way how the world was designed. Like at first, when I first started out working, I had these regular jobs, these regular 9-to-5 jobs, and I realized I hated them, and I realized I wasn't suited for them, and I didn't last long in them. I tried to stick them out as long as possible, but they used to make me sick to my stomach. And eventually, I ended up getting married and becoming a home managing wife. I would say home managing, not homemaking, because I'm not domesticated in that way. I'm not the domesticated type, but I am the kind of person that knows how to create harmony in my home. So I had like 6 children, 5 of which I'm raising, and the other one that died at 5 days old. So, you know, I became a home managing mom and a homeschooling mom, and that's what I've been doing for most of my life. That's what I've been doing since, like, I started working for a bit. I realized that I hated it and I couldn't do this regular 9-to-5 thing, and then I found somebody who, you know, was willing to build a life with me and work while I managed to take care of the home and the kids, and that's what I ended up doing. But now I've shifted into trying to, my kids are grown now. My kids are 19 and maturing, so they don't need me as much as they used to, and I've shifted my intention into building a platform, creating a platform with me as the brand, me as the platform, not so it's kind of like a platform about utilizing my gifts, right? My gifts as my personality type, which is a strength. My personality type is a strength because of the way it is a rare personality type. So the way how I see the world, the way how I think, I'm a deep thinker. I used to think that I was an overthinker, but it wasn't an overthinker, it was a deep thinker. We have an analytical brain. And thank you for the hearts, whoever was tapping that screen. Thank you for the hearts. It's 201 now. It was 0, now it's 201. Kind of miss who was doing that. Thank you very much. And thank you for anybody who is actually listening to me. But I hope you're enjoying the live, and continue to send the love and help me out, help me and, you know, push this live, like the live, share the live, whatever. And like I said, I'm going to be doing this like 2 times a day. That's the goal, that's the hope. 2 times a day, 10 and 2, the 10 o'clock hour and the 2 o'clock hour daily, but not on weekends, for at least to the end of 2025. right to the end of the year, and then we will go from there and see where things progress and shift. So thank you for the love and the hearts. And okay, so I was saying, right, so I decided so I've been a homeschooling mom for about 20 years, right? About 19 years. And now I've shifted my attention into trying to create a social media platform with me as the brand, which is what I just said, with me as the brand, utilizing like leaning into my strengths, right? And one of my strengths is that I have a INFJ mind, right? An INFJ mind is someone who we're very introverted, we're very intuitive, we're emotionally intelligent, we see patterns that can be predictive. We have a predictive mindset, right? We absorb and observe enough information, and then we could kind of, see the paths towards harmony. We could see the potential in people that people don't see in themselves. Our perspective is we want the best for people. We don't wish bad for people, and, even though an INFJ kind of could be, without trying to sound vain or whatever, could be an intimidating personality type to other people because of the way we are. Because I can only speak for myself, but I know a lot. The way we are is that we are full of so much love and light and positivity, right? And we are listeners, we are counselors, we are helpers, we are idealists. We see the world as it could be, and in the positive ways it could be. We see the potential for greatness in people and in the planet, right? And the challenge of being INFJ, especially at this time, in this timeline where we're in a season of revelation, right? We're in a season where all the kind of like the corruption and the disgusting behavior and the worst elements of mankind is the loudest thing in the room, and it is it's right in your face. It's so loud, it's horrible. Like, for instance, I'm aware of I'm aware of all the bad news that have happened lately. I don't even want to mention them, but I'm aware of the death that's been in the news lately, the violence that's been even more so than regularly, over the last couple of days. I'm aware of that, right? And to be an INFJ in this timeline is a challenge. Is a challenge because we're looking at the world and we like, what the actual right? Because I know everybody feel that way. I know that people that care, we all feel that way, right? But the thing is that it makes no sense to me, to us, because we see the path to harmony, we see the path to peace, we see the path and the potential. We see the world as it could be and not the way it is right now, right? Not the loudest, the way it is in the low is in the noise, not the way it is in the noise right now. We see the potential. We don't see AI as scary. We see the potential in AI. We see the potential in all the rubble and all the darkness and all the horribleness. We see the potential for the roads to grow to the concrete, to be honest. We see what we could be. And the whole thing is to learn. Now, feel free to say anything, talk to me and ask me questions, or talk to me, or engage in any way if you like. But thank you for listening. For anybody who is listening, I really appreciate it. Remember to tap the screen, that would help. Like the live, send gifts. I don't know why we send gifts. I think gifts is like to get a little change or something. I am now basically just getting the hang of this thing, but anybody that's familiar with lives and you know how to support a live, then send that support energy, send that love energy my way. Right. So we see what the world could be, right? And the path to harmony, the path to peace. And the challenge now is to be, as an INFJ, is to sit back and to not, because I understand what they're trying to do, right? I understand what they're trying to do. I see it. I know what they're doing, right? Even if I don't know how to put it in words, I got a lot of creators that are very good and eloquent enough to put it into words what they're doing. I know what they're doing, right? And the challenge as an INFJ is to, step back and let people figure it out, because you want to help. That was our our personality type. Our way is that we want to help. We're helpers, and when we see people struggling, we want to help them. So now what happens when the whole freaking world's struggling, when almost everybody's struggling? We would drown. If we was to just continue to be our usual INFJ self, it would kill us. So as I have said in many of the lives and videos that I do, I've had no choice but to kind of like put up my empathy for a while, right? I've had to numb myself, right? Not that I don't care and not that I don't feel. I just don't care and feel. Immediately, my initial response, right? I don't get triggered so easily. I'm kind of like to the point where my INFJ now is filtering to the people that really like tugs at me a little bit. It tugs at me because I understand I seen all this stuff on a screen, and if I was to just feed on it all day long, if I feed on people's sadness and people's fears and people's worries and people's doubts and all their triggers and all their tremors and all of that all day long, I would be like consuming poison, and that would be the death of me. So I've had to protect myself, protect my empathy as an INFJ, right? So, but I see it. I see it, and I'm perfectly aware, right? So, okay. So the next thing I said. So I was breaking down the INFJ. The INFJ is the introvert, the intuitive, the feeling, and the judging personality. So the judging is the last part I didn't talk about. The judging personality is they prefer structure, planning, and organization. They like to have things settled and appreciate order in their external world. So you hear that, and that is not anything that is happening right now, because the external world is chaotic and crazy and not in order at all. So that is why, as an INFJ, in this timeline, I've had to do things differently. I had to, I've had to make different choices, right? Like I watched a video, a TikTok with somebody that said, the empaths is in their villain season, and that resonated with me. The empaths are in their villain season. We have no choice but to be in our villain season. We have no choice but to be the selfish ones, because we spent our whole life trying to help people. We spent our whole life trying to help people. We spent our whole life caring deeply for people. But now we have come to the point where, as people have been saying, there's no one coming to save you. We've come to the point in this timeline where people are going to have to, as best as they can, fight to save themselves. You know what I mean? You're going to have to fight to save yourself as best as you can. And somebody is going to help you along the way, but do not expect it. Fight with all your might to save yourself, because all of us right now are fighting to save ourselves. We have come to the point in the timeline where people are going to have to connect. They're going to have to know how powerful they are. They have to find their power. They have to draw from like every ounce of and every last ounce of everything that they got within themselves and find that inner strength. And find that inner strength, because here's the reason why I say that, right? Because now we live in such a world, right, that we are deeply connected to one another, right? And you are constantly being bombarded by everything. And your saviors aren't going to be in your bedrooms. Like literally, you could stare at your phone all night and you could scare yourself to death. And your saviors, your rescuers, the people that you looking to rescue you and save you aren't with you. So if you have no self-control to disconnect from that stuff that you terrify yourself with, if you don't have the strength within yourself to save yourself from the despair in which you are allowing yourself to drown in and fall in because you will not put down the phone, or you will not get some sleep, or you will not just go take a nap, or you will not go hug a tree, or spend some time in nature, or do something that is better for you than what you are consuming, the poison that you're consuming. If you don't make that choice, your savior is not going to be able, there's no savior that's going to come in your bedroom and take the phone from you. There's no one that is going to make that choice for you. You have to make that choice. I have to tell you, the truth is that the world that we're consuming right now is the world that we have chosen to consume. I made a video yesterday, and in that video I said that 2025 is the best year of my life. Now I know there's a lot of people that can disagree that 2025 is the best year. What do you mean 2025 was the best year of your life when all these bad things happening? The truth is that the world has gotten louder, and it's more being a more revelation season. So a lot of truths coming out, uncomfortable truths. We in a season of having conversations and dealing with traumas and triggers and having them come to the surface so that we could deal with them. So we in on uncomfortable season, and the reason that it was the best year of my life is because I did my uncomfortable season last year and the year before, and so I went through my shadows. I dealt with my shadows. So I didn't have to deal with it in 2025. People that are dealing with their shadows now is because they didn't deal with it before. It wasn't dealt with before, you know. But the world that you're consuming now, the world that you are experiencing, is the world that you have chosen to experience. And I could tell you, I am on 3 social media spaces. I don't do Blue Sky anymore, and I don't do Threads, and I don't do nothing to do with Meta. I don't do Instagram. I don't do any of the things I used to, but not anymore. I'm on in 3 social media spaces. I am in requested to join as a guest. Okay, I'm not sure if I want to have a guest right now, because I just getting a little bit comfortable doing this. So I'm not ready to invite somebody to guest talk. Especially, let's talk like outside of this space, and then I would decide about that. Because but thank you for asking. What was I saying? But if you want to say something, comment and say something so that I could hear from you before asking to come to join as a guest, because I need to feel comfortable with people before I invite them in as a guest, especially because I'm new to this. So, right, what was I saying now? So what I was saying is that the world that you're consuming now, the world that you are experiencing, is the world that you've chosen to experience, because you are the one that are feeding on the news feeds and the things that make you feel depressed. If you're experiencing depression, you are the one that are making the choices to lean into that depression and that sadness, as opposed to working towards taking the steps towards not feeling that way, because I experienced that too. I experienced sad and depression, and I experienced all these things, and I realized that all of those things are connected to, you know, what I'm feeding on or fed on, what I absorbed, right? So, you know, you absorb something differently. You consume something differently, or you do something differently, because it's actually really not that hard. It is, we make it harder than it actually needs to be, because you know, we overthink things. Like the joys are really simple and really easy. Like literally, it's like watching a bird all day, if you can, like just sitting down somewhere and staring at the birds, you know, watching the birds, like sitting among the trees, like reading a book that gives you pleasure and peace and calm. You know, it's a cup of hot chocolate, or your favorite drink, you know, is holding somebody's hand, or holding your own hand, you know. Like the things that are medicine to our soul, the things that changes everything, are the simplest things, and we overthink it because we think that it has to be something big and, you know, complicated and extravagant. Like we got to go to dinner, or we got to go to the spa, or we got to do this, or we got to do that. But it's simple. It's simple, you know. It's the simplest things, and we just got to try to remember that. And I know how hard it is to be human. I really do know how hard it is to be human, because here I am. I'm talking about being an INFJ, and that is exactly what an INFJ is. The kind of person who knows how hard it is to be human, because we pay attention to all the little things that a lot of people don't pay attention to. You know, we are deep thinkers, and we overanalyze, as people would say, but that is not how I am anymore. But you analyze everything, right? We are very insightful. So I understand how hard it is to be human. You know, the choices that we gotta constantly make, right? To be the best versions of ourselves. The difficulty, the choices that we have to make every day. And, you know, like I said, you know, some people might perceive what I'm saying as an oversimplification of fixing things, or of getting better or feeling better. But the truth is, it is a simple thing. But our minds make things that should be simple complex. And then we take the complex things and we oversimplify it. It's like we totally get it wrong. We the things that should be simple, we complicate, and the things that should be really paid attention to and focus on and dissected, right? Those we turn into like these little black and white things, right? And that's the part that I don't really understand about human beings, you know. So I like I said, I've been trying to figure out how to navigate the world that we're in as an INFJ with my brain, with the way how I think, and understand people. But I've decided to stop trying to understand people, and I've decided to focus like most of my energy on understanding what it is to be me, because I don't understand other people. I don't understand other people, you know. I understand, but I don't. And that, that's the thing. That's the enigma about being an INFJ. We get it, but we don't. And we sympathize and we empathize, but at the same time we don't get it. We don't get why people make certain choices that will bring the kind of pain that they're experiencing and bring the kind of discomfort that they're experiencing, not realizing that it's the choices that they're making, not realizing that they're the ones who are creating that pain, right, by the choices that they're making. And we want to help, and we want to advise, and a lot of times people don't like, sometimes people don't want that advice, and that one of the things that I've learned now is to just live my life, and not try to take on, to rescue the world, not try to rescue the world, but to be an example and a light, right? But not to take on the world on my shoulder, because that's what I used to do. I used to take on the world on my shoulder, but then it got so effed up, it got so bad, it got so heavy that I couldn't anymore. So I had to put it down. I had to put the whole thing down. I couldn't take that. I couldn't take the world on my shoulder anymore, right? So, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today, because I was only going to do a live for an hour. Like I said, I'm going to do these lives until the end of 2025. I'm challenging myself. Anybody that wants to be to be invited as a guest to my live, you gotta at least talk to me a little bit. I gotta get to know you. I don't know, I'm not like a complete stranger, somebody I've never seen or heard before. I don't even know anything about their account or anything like that. I'm not gonna invite into my live with me. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. I'm going to do these lives at any 10 o'clock, any 2 o'clock hour, 10 and 2 TikTok live. So so 10, and 2:22, because I like those numbers. 10, and 2:22 is what I'm going to try to do during the week, and not on weekends. And I'm not sure about Christmas week, but I want to do as many, days as I can until the end of this year. And we can talk about different things. I wanted to reflect on many different things. I wanted to reflect on things from my perspective as an INFJ, which an INFJ is like an idealist, introverted, intuitive, feeling, judging personality, right? We perceive the world from a intuitive standpoint, from an introverted standpoint, from our inner world and our emotions. We're very emotionally intelligent people. So when I talk about anything, I don't really shy away from any kind of conversation. I talk about politics too, but I don't talk about politics from a perspective, any similar perspective as a lot of other people would. I speak about it from the INFJ perspective, from the spiritual, from the emotional, from the pattern recognition perspective. And I don't focus too heavily on the darkness of the moment, the corruption and the ignorance. I mean, they got so many people focusing on that. They got so many people that focus on all of that darkness, all the gunk and all the yuckiness that is taking place right now. And I'm aware of all those things, but I don't focus on that. I focus on solution based observations. I focus on my observations of potential our potential to greatness, our potential to healing, our potential to, our path to peace, our path to healing, our path to getting better. And I also realized that all the things that we are experiencing now, all the things that are happening in the world right now, that is like years and years and years of trauma. That's generational trauma right there. Generational trauma. Because we are in a generational shift. We are in a period of a certain generations dying out, you know, and the leadership shifting to the younger generations. And the idea of the world, the mindset of the world shifting to the younger generations, because the old ones are dying out. Hi to anybody that's passing through. Hello. Feel free to tap the screen and like the live and share the live, even though I was getting ready to close off the live. But I was talking about, you know, I was talking about what it's like to be an INFJ, especially in this timeline. And I was also saying that I want to start doing more lives, so I can do lives at 10 and 2, the 10 o'clock hour and the 2 o'clock hour, 10:10 and 2:22. And I was also saying that, you know, people, I talk about anything, but from INFJ standpoint, an emotional intelligence path to potential standpoint. Hi, beautiful. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for passing through. Hi. I hope you're having a great day. Right. So, and, you know, I don't shy away from talking about politics, but I talk about politics from a different perspective. And I'm more solution based and more community based and more potential for greatness and healing base in the way how I perceive things and talk about things, you know. And there's plenty of creators that talk about things from the scary standpoint and the warnings and the you know, this is all the bad things that could happen standpoint. You know, there's plenty of creators that talk about things from that perspective. And, you know, I believe that what we're experiencing right now is a generational shift. I believe that it's a lot of trauma coming to the surface. There's revelations coming out, trauma and triggers coming to the surface, and it's basically coming up so it can be dealt with, because it can no longer be hidden or covered. And the reason why we need to deal with that, the reason why we need to deal with it in that way, is because we're moving into the technological era, right? We're moving into crazy ass technological advancements, right? We're moving into the AI, and AI has been a scary thing for people for I don't know how long, because they've been making movies about. I mean, I was watching you watch the what do you call it? The thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the shoot. When Arnold Schwarzenegger was a robot, I forgot. Oh my gosh. But you're watching movies about how the robots take over and all that kind of stuff for years, right? So these are things that you've been scared of. People have been scared of for years. And then the next thing I also said is that, like, thank you for the hearts, 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 thank you for the likes. I love it. Terminator, thank you. I knew it began with T. I knew it was a T. And Transformers was at the tip of my tongue, and I was like, I know it's not Transformers. Right, Terminator, right. So we was watching them kind of movies for like years, right? And so we've been scared. We've been scared of the robots taking over. We've been scared of technology, like, causing mankind to go extinct. So that's a fear that's been coming up. Now here we are. We are in the future. We're in the technological age, and here's why we gotta deal with our traumas and triggers. Because if we don't deal with it, we are going to face our traumas and triggers daily. Because now we're in a world where we get to see all kinds of worlds. When we turn on, your accent is so beautiful. Where are you from? I'm from Barbados. I'm from Barbados. You know about Barbados? Right. So yeah, I'm from Barbados. That's my Bajan accent. And thank you for the compliment on my accent. Right. So I was saying that you know, we gonna face it we gonna face like those traumas and triggers like daily, right? Unless you're gonna be offline and disconnected, you're gonna always see things that could trigger you and traumatize you over and over and over again. So this is why we have to deal with the healing, because if you don't come up to the surface, if all the things that have been buried, I know Rihanna is from there, LL Robot Takeover is pending. Yep. Well, it depends on if the humans let that happen. But right, yeah, Rihanna's from there. Yep, that Barbados. Preach, mama, preach. Exactly. Thank you. So right. So if we don't deal with them things, if we don't deal with our trauma and our triggers, we're gonna be facing it all day long. Because what people gotta realize is the world that they're consuming, the algorithm that they are absorbing is the one that they created. It's their algorithm. It is the algorithm aligning to your interests. It's the algorithm aligning to what you want to see. Even if you think you don't want to see the bad things, you call in the bad things to you. You call in those triggers to you, right? Because you clicking on it. Because like basically on a daily basis, my algorithm adjusts to my mood, right? And I mean, right now my algorithm feed got like Christmas music and got like my YouTube got certain things, and my TikTok algorithm is just as beautiful as my YouTube algorithm. I do see, people talking about political things because I am aware of things and I pay attention to things, so I listen to things, but it's not like this. I'm not constantly being bombarded with all the images that cause me to be scared all the time and cause me to think that it's the end of the world and all these kind of things, and not constantly bombarded by that. So your algorithm is aligning with your energy, is what you're calling to it, and when I on certain days when I know that I absorbing yucky stuff, when I know that I can see my feed not looking too pretty, right? I'm like, well, what energy am I in today? What am I calling this stuff to me? Or maybe I take it as a warning. I gotta disconnect. I didn't miss that one. Let me see what it is. I learned you can tune the algorithm a bit in the settings. Did you know that? I don't know. I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. So I gotta look into that. But yeah, but for right now, my algorithm is a beautiful algorithm for the most part, and like if your algorithm is just full of devastating news all the time, then that's what you are interested in. So it's feeding you more of it. And it's feeding you what is this message? Sorry. Okay. It's feeding you more of it, and all right, just stop now. And nope. Okay. It is feeding you more of it, and it's aligning with your energy. That's how I see it. I honestly believe that. And what I'm deciding to do is I am deciding to work on constantly learn how to shape my algorithm as opposed to have my algorithm shape me or rewire my brain. Have my algorithm control me. I control my algorithm. Not perfectly, because I don't have it mastered yet, but constantly like sending the message to my algorithm that the kind of stuff that I am interested in, and really and truthfully, I'm mostly interested in things that will help me to evolve and help me to grow and help me to become, because of consuming those distractions daily is not helping me, and I cannot help anybody if I am not, if I am in the low vibe that they want to feed off, they want to feed off my energy. So if I am in that low vibe constantly, which is what they want, you know, I can't help nobody. So if I really care about the world as much as I say, as much as I believe, if I care about people, then the greatest gift that I could give to the world is the best version of myself, right? That's the greatest gift that I could give, the best version of myself, me in the highest vibration that I could reach to, you know. So I have to work on daily with my choices, right? I have to work on that with my daily choices, right? And so that's what I believe. I believe that the world that you are consuming is the world that you are creating that. You are creating that world that you're experiencing, because all the things are happening all at the same time. It is not only the bad things that are happening in the world. Those are not the only things happening in the world. Like, all the things are happening at the same time. That's why we gotta deal with our traumas and triggers, because our traumas and triggers are what's gonna call more trauma to us. That is why I think that we're going through this experience, because the world, the higher power, the source, the spirit, the world, the whatever, the thing that is control of it all, is preparing us for a new world. Because if we don't get this together, if we don't heal, if we don't deal with those things that need to come to service, that's why this is what these people, they might not know that what they're doing is for the good of mankind, but actually the evil that these people are doing is for the good of mankind. Because at the end of the day, we have to deal with these things in order to be leaders of a new world, to be creators of a new world. If we are continually easily manipulated and triggered and traumatized over and over again by things that we see on the internet, then we are not going to be leaders. We are not going to be caretakers of the planet. We're going to be the food of the planet. Those people are going to use us to harvest our energy. They're going to harvest our soul, you know, because we're easily manipulated. We're easily shaped into the image however they want, you know, used, right? So, you know, we got to deal with that. And that's what I believe 2025 was about. And those who did not, you know, those who coming to the end have not really, still haven't dealt with those things, then year 2026 is going to be like that as well. You know, because it's going to be a process until enough of us have dealt with our shadows. This whole ordeal that we experiencing now is going to end when enough people on the planet has raised their vibration. I see here, I'm seeing 7 new messages. What the heck is all these messages? Right. Until enough people have raised their vibration, right? And what we need to do, you know, my friend, Pastor Poetics, like, what's your real name if you want to share it? If not, I can call you Pastor Poetics. But you remind me of me, because you are, you know, part of that sprinkle of goodness, that sprinkle of whimsy and color and joy and artistry and the same energy that I have, you know, that the world needs more than ever right now, you know. And yeah, what should I call you? Should I call you Pastel Poetics, or, you know, what's your name? But yeah, what was I saying? You know, that's what the world needs right now. It needs that color. It needs that whimsy. It needs that joy, that laughter. It needs to be reminded. You know, it needs to remind. the people need to be reminded of how simple, of the simple things that they forgot, of community, of love, of play, of fun, of social gatherings, of the simple things, the human connection, and the things that you know, brought humanity together, right? They need to be reminded of that. So you gotta, you know, if we can, we gotta lean into that more. Like, we who are not in the most vulnerable situations right now, that can, need to lean heavily into the play, because I know that it can feel uncomfortable. It can feel like, into the color and into the play and into the fun and into the joy. It can feel like you're betraying people. It can feel like, you know, who am I to be joyful and playful and colorful and excited and all these things, high vibration? Who am I to be all these things while, you know, I feel like the world burning, you know? But I do think that this ordeal that we are experiencing will end sooner, the sooner that more people play, the more people love, more people are joyful, more people are creative, more people have fun, more people remind themselves of what are the best parts of being human. Are, you know, because we know how hard it is to be human, right? But we have to remind ourselves of how pleasant it is too, how of pleasure and pleasant and what is pleasant and what is joyful. We gotta remember these things, right? So that's what we gotta do. So I guess I'm gonna close the live now. I hope that you enjoyed it. I really enjoy talking. I surprise myself every time I do this, but I enjoy it and I want to do more of it. And like I said, I can do these like maybe like 10 and 2. One of the things about me is that, you know, as an INFJ, right, consistency is a challenge. That's why I didn't do too well in the 9-to-5 job, because consistency is a challenge. An INFJ is a moody motherfucker. An INFJ is a moody person, right? You know, we kind of like have ideas and thoughts and feelings and things that we want to do, but then, you know, we might not be in the mood, or, you know, and when we have to do something that we're not in the mood to do, it's very, very hard to do. It's a challenge. It's very difficult to do, you know. But it's my goal to do these lives like twice a day, at least for a while during the week. Maybe not as much during the Christmas week, but to the end of the year, to the end of 2025 is my goal to do that, and, you know, see what happens and go from there. But, you know, thank you for listening. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for passing through. Thank you for liking the live. Thank you for all, you know, for the engagement. And I hope that we, you know, do this more and get to know one another more, and, you know, create a little friendship circle, you know. And I hope that you enjoy your December, and thank you for participating. Anybody want to say anything before I say goodbye, before I end the live? Just gonna give you time to say anything if you want to say anything. All right. Yeah, sometimes you don't know. Okay, they don't even show you that whether somebody typing or not. But thank you for watching. Thank you for everything, for participating and everything. And I hope to do this again tomorrow, and do more of it. Thank you.